this entire fight in court that has been gotten out across the word. I have needed to manage it according to a youngster's viewpoint. At the point when you have dark shape, asbestos, and toxic paint wins, upsetting update arises as Todd Chrisley's frantic sob for help resounds. Revealing insight into the obvious reality he faces in the slammer, the unscripted television character has divulged the nerve-wracking states of his jail insight, sending shockwaves through the business and past as the heaviness of this wild section negatively affects him. Todd's experience fills in as a strong sign of the battles inside the law enforcement framework. How about we dive into the profundities of Todd's awful excursion where the obvious reality of life in the slammer becomes known. Todd Chrisley, the land investor. The beginning to his own Chrisley realizes best unscripted TV drama. At the present time, the Chrisley family has been having a tough time. Recently, Todd and Julie began their sentence as they were indicted for deceitful demonstrations and tax avoidance charges. Us local ad Joe Gulch or Ross in Atlanta provided Todd with a decision of 12 years in jail, while Julie got 7 years in the slammer. As indicated by office reports, every one of the litigants is expected to serve 3 years of managed discharge subsequently. What's more, Ross likewise requested them to pay compensation in a sum that will be resolved later. The jury found that Todd and Julie Chrisley contrived to dupe Georgia People Group banks to acquire more than $30 million in private advances. In a new episode of their digital broadcast, Savannah and Pursue, Chrisley decided to uncover the disturbing particulars encompassing the circumstances their folks are persevering during their jail sentences, joined in their point of view. The two kin openly recognize that their folks are as of now exploring through one of the most difficult sections of their lives. You gotta find out about the bunch of everything happening at his office. It's a bad dream. The kin wind up wrestling with tragedy as they stand up to the cruel truth of their folks, getting through their sentences in the midst of burning intensity absent any help from cooling. The geological areas of their separate imprisonments add an extra layer of concern. Presently, they're both. Presently, the two of them have no air. Better believe it. So, no. Cooling. The two of them live in states, or they're both in states where it earns 100 or more college educations and there's no cooling. Adding to the trouble, Savannah uncovered that Julie has been faced with the frightening presence of noxious snakes crawling around her resting quarters, a disturbing circumstance that possibly puts her life at grave gamble. Mother has diamondbacks quite recently nonchalantly crawling on the floor before her. They weren't diamondbacks. They were No, they were noxious. Adding to the desperate circumstance, Savannah uncovered that the general states of the office have become dreadful, tormented by the widespread presence of different organisms. Cooling is its least. Whenever you have dark form, asbestos. Furthermore, toxic paint snakes, while the kin are completely mindful of their folks' detainment, they truly express the way that tragic it is to observe their folks explore these difficult circumstances without anyone else. It is jail, so we won't stay here and carry on like it ought to be the Four Seasons, since I know that. That's what I know. However, by the day's ends, it's my folks. The kin likewise deliver a vital perception that the absence of compassion from others originates from the way that not their own friends and family are confronting the difficulties of imprisonment. It's jail so that individuals have no compassion toward it. Definitely. No. Thus, individuals don't need them. They have no compassion until they're in this present circumstance, their adored one. In a frightening divulgence, Savannah implied that her folks have gotten through intensity, strokes, and required critical clinic care. Regardless of these disturbing occurrences, the offices being referred to have apparently made no move to address what is happening. Your cherished one staying there in a real sense, having an intensity stroke and winding up in a medical clinic or not being taken care of appropriately. J. Sargent, an accomplice at Weiner Regulation Gathering LLP, who spends significant time in middle-class wrongdoing, only told Individuals magazine that the everyday environments are unfeeling. For both of the respondents, their day-to-day environments, the two of them, he in Pensacola, she in Lexington, Kentucky. It's a totally crazy circumstance. Not that we're saying that they merit exceptional treatment since they're VIPs. They don't really. What we're talking about is that they, alongside different prisoners, merit better treatment. We ought not be treating our detainees the manner in which we're treating our detainees as of now. To add to that, he likewise develops what steps they would possibly take during the couple's continuous requests process. The 11th Circuit Court of Requests can switch the region court, or they could remand the case back for hearings that ought to have been held that were not held over the span of this preliminary. We contended enthusiastically that their sacred privileges have been disregarded and that they fundamentally were not given a fair hearing. It's all clearly really Alex Little, Julie's legal counselor, has uncovered an unsettling disclosure. He has revealed that critical issues inside the case exist. However, the legal framework has chosen not to see these worries. Furthermore, there were a few genuine issues with the way this case occurred at preliminary, with how was treated your folks, with the kind of proof that was conceded, the manner in which the adjudicator took care of things. To add to that, Savannah formally affirmed their family's commitment with another lawful delegate. She shared a decided position, underscoring the family's immovable obligation to the reason, expressing that they're investigating every possibility in their endeavors to get a vigorous allure. I couldn't care less on the off chance that I need to take this to the High Court. There is no stopping that is occurring. We have an incredible group of individuals behind us that I'm so honored and thankful for. Savannah appreciates relentless help from her devoted fan base, standing immovably behind her in this difficult time. They accept the legal framework has violated her folks in additional ways than one. Continue to utilize your foundation to bring issues to light of all the debasement for this situation and how your folks have been shamefully arraigned. Bring it, Biden. The subsequent piece is one of the IRS officials affirmed about whether the Chrisleys had covered specific expenses. That surely we think impacted the jury, and we accept it will be the reason for another preliminary. That is all there is to it for now, people. Until sometime later, farewell.